This video is going to focus on idea generation techniques. By the end of it, you will have learned 3, and you'll hopefully understand why we use them and how you could use them in your work to make your designs a bit more creative. Now, there are a number of reasons that we use idea generation techniques. Now, we've looked at Zaha Hadid, for instance, when we were doing our wave project for the clock. She uses inspiration from all sorts of places to get her designs more creative. And that's basically what it is. It's helping you produce creative designs. It's little techniques that help you do that. She looked at algorithms on her computers using different systems and programs, sound waves like what we did with the wave clock. You've also got the Shinkansen bullet train in Japan, who looked at nature to help their design work. They looked at the kingfisher and the way it enters the water to help them deal with the sonic boom of the speed of the train going through tunnels. Tinker Hatfield, famous designer of the Nike Air Jordan shoes, he looked at the space and solar system and also the Pompidou Centre. So designers don't just pluck ideas out of thin air, they use specific techniques to help them do it. And today that's what we're going to learn about. 3 techniques we can use to help us come up with really cool and creative ideas. The first technique we're going to focus on today is morphological analysis. Sounds a bit scary? Not at all. It's a really quick and easy way for you to come up with creative ideas. It's all about using a table to come up with, it's almost like a random generator of words and combinations. So using a table to come up with random combinations for how a design may look, feel, be used. You pick options at random and it helps you generate a creative design you would not have otherwise thought of. Okay, so we've got a wee task for this one. Design an earphone winder for children and it must be a monster. I'm going to make a small table here. And I'm going to split into 4 sections. I'm going to have 4 different columns, like so. And each one I'm going to have a category. I'm going to think of different parts of the monster, so we can have the shape of the overall monster, maybe how many limbs it might have, how many eyes, and maybe features. And I'm just going to start filling in the columns with as many different ones I can think of as possible. So there we have it. Lots of different features that my monster earphone holder could have. And the next thing we do, we then just pick options at random. So I'm going to go for, we'll go bumpy, 2 limbs, 1 eye, and let's go for some fangs. So there we have it. Already in my head, I have an idea for a monster that I'm going to sketch for my earbud holder. Bumpy, 2 limbs, 1 eye, fangs. I'm going to get a fresh piece of paper and I'm going to get designing. So there we have it. We've got a wee monster, and using my table here, I've made him bumpy, 2 limbs, 1 eye, and fangs. There he is. I've also had to think about, right, if I'm winding around my earphones, where they're going to go. They could sit between the 2 kind of bumpy bits here and here. And then I've done a little hole so that the rest of the wire can settle and fix into there. I would not have come up with that idea had I not done the morphological analysis. And to be honest, now I'd quite like to do more. I could come up with tons of ideas using this method. So not only is it applied to kind of fun things like that, like the monster, you could use it for seating. You could talk about how many legs it may have, how many people could be sitting on it, what types of shapes might it be inspired by, could it be inspired by something from nature, could it have a secondary function. There's all sorts of ways you can play with morphological analysis. It's a really good way to get you off the blank sheet of paper. The next idea generation technique is called visual reference. You sketch an assortment of pattern and shape and highlight interesting or eye-catching shapes and use them to generate a design. So just lots of different shapes. In this task, you're going to use the visual reference technique to design some cool new seating for a music festival. So I'm just going to start off with some circles, I think, to begin with. That kind of got warmed up from doing my monster there. I had quite a lot of circles. I could keep going with that, but I'm just going to stop there, and I'm going to pick out just a random shape that I quite like the look of. So let's just go for this circle here. It's the first thing that caught my eye. So I'm just going to go around it. I'm going to keep this full circle, but I'm going to add this bit on here, and I might take this wee part out. So there, that's the shape I'm going to use to help me design my festival seating. Now you could take a couple of different shapes. I mean, for instance, this one here, you've got a shape there, you've got quite an interesting shape here, if we had the curve in, like that. But the one I'm going to go for, we'll just highlight it there and make it really, really clear, is this one. So let's see what I can come up with. So all from this shape we have here, we've got the two bubbles kind of joined together in this little segment. I've got two platforms, two viewing platforms for the festival, so loads of people can sit around here and here. I don't know how they're climbing up that bit yet because it's quite high, but we won't talk about that right now. And it means everyone can see over each other. Also, I thought with this little segment bit cut out here, could it be that there's little panels coming out here that have lights underneath them so that when you sit down on them they start glowing and flashing along with the music, and I thought that this would be quite a cool platform for people to dance on. Obviously a bit of safety concerns here, but it's an initial design that I wouldn't have come up with otherwise using my visual reference technique. Take your pencil for a walk. This is something you've probably all done at some point in your time. You just take your pencil for a wee wander over the page, overlapping, changing direction, and then use some of the shapes to help inspire a design. And our wee task this time is design a piece of outdoor play equipment. It should be fun and for ages 2 to 4. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. So I need a piece of outdoor play equipment. Now this time I'm actually going to look for something in here that might help me take a different approach. Instead of just selecting a random shape, I'm going to have a wee look. Now I'm seeing this here looking a little bit like a slide. I'm going to take that shape. I'm going to get my highlighter and I'm going to just go over that to show you guys which shape I'm going to be going with. I love a highlighter. Don't know if you guys are the same. Absolutely love it. So there we go. There's my wee shape, and I'm going to make that into a wee slide somehow. What might help you is if you have done it on a separate piece of paper, just to kind of, it's quite difficult to visualise it the right way up. So I'm going to pop it like this next to me so I can see the shape of my slide. And there we go. I've got a wee slide. It's quite a bubbly in shape. I've rounded off some corners just because that was a bit jaggy for kids. I've put a little hole in here so that they can hold on with it at the top, and we've got some steps that curve round. I've thought about that base being a little bit thicker so that it's stable, and added a little extension because if you can imagine the shoots behind here, it'll probably be something like this. Just a wee extension of that out there so that they're not falling and hurting their wee bums. And there we go. There's my visual reference, and there is my design. So go away, have a go at some morphological analysis, take your pencil for a walk, visual reference, and please feel free to do more than one design per brief, and you'll be amazed at how much you come up with.